Looks like James Gunn is going to be in DC for a long time. Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix. My name is Chris Wong. First, we're going to talk about Black Adam. Then let's talk about James Gunn's comments about Martin Scorsese's comments about Marvel. Then Variety put out another box office tracking for The Suicide Squad that is coming out this week. Finally, we're going to talk about James Gunn's upcoming DC projects. He may have hinted what he's going to do next. Alright, let's talk about Black Adam. Now, Black Adam producer Hiram Garcia wanted to address some of the talk and rumors that Dwayne The Rock Johnson called up Kevin Feige and talked about going to Marvel. But Hiram Garcia claims that for years now, 7 Bucks Production have always wanted Dwayne The Rock Johnson to be Black Adam. This is what he had to say. We've always been very committed to what we wanted to build with Black Adam. Black Adam was the character we wanted to bring to life and who we felt DJ was destined to play. Once we set our sights on this character over a decade ago, it was hard to imagine DJ playing anyone else. It has been quite a long time since he was even put in the role as Black Adam. I'm really happy that we're finally get to see him as Black Adam. Now, there's this whole debacle today in regards to James Gunn's comments on Martin Scorsese's comments about Marvel. A while back, Martin Scorsese talked about Marvel, and this is what he had said. "I don't see them. I tried, but that's not cinema," Scorsese told Empire. "Honestly, the closest I can think of them, as well as made as they are, with actors doing the best they can under the circumstances, is theme parks. It isn't the cinema of human beings trying to convey emotional, psychological experiences to another human being." Now, at that time, Marvel fans from all over pounced on one of the greatest cinematic directors of all time, Martin Scorsese. Come on, leave the man alone. But there were some directors, even actors from the Marvel side that were kind of disappointed and kind of hurt by Martin Scorsese's comments. But that was a long time ago. But now there was a new podcast from Josh Horowitz from the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, and this is what James Gunn had to say about that.
Kind of become the de facto one of the guys that always comes out to have to defend the comic book movies when some of the luminaries come out that we all love and respect, like the Jodie Fosters and Scorseses of the world, say certain things. Does it feel a little exhausting sometimes to be the guy to be like, I love you, Marty, but hear me out here, or what?
I don't know. I just think, it's awful. He just seems awful cynical that he would keep coming out against Marvel, and then that's the only thing that would get him pressed for his movie.
Right.
So then he just kept coming out against Marvel so that he could get pressed for his movie. So he's creating his movie in the shadow of the Marvel films. And so he uses that to get attention for something that he wasn't getting as much attention as he wanted for it. And he's one of the greatest filmmakers who's ever existed. I love his movies. I can watch his movies with no problem. And he said a lot of things I agree with. There is a lot of things that are true about what he said. There are a lot of heartless, soulless, spectacle films out there that don't reflect what should be happening. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of times I've talked to film directors before they went in and made a big movie and said, "Hey, we're in this together. Let's do something different with these big movies. Let's make them something different than everything that's come before them."
Yeah.
And then see them just go and just cater to every single studio whim or what's thought of and just be grossed out, frankly. So, he said, well, a lot of what he said was good. And then also, he hasn't seen my movie. He doesn't know what my movie is.
Sure.
So, it was irritating.
So yeah, that did not go well at all today. Film fans and film bloggers all kind of just pounced on James Gunn today for having those comments about Martin Scorsese. Now, honestly, for me, film is subjective, so people like certain things and people don't like certain things. Some people think things are masterpieces and other things are not masterpieces. I guess it really is art through the eye of the beholder. Obviously, Martin Scorsese is an incredible cinematic filmmaker, and I absolutely love all the movies that he's done. In fact, anytime I hear there's a Martin Scorsese movie coming out, it's kind of like Quentin Tarantino, Zack, Snyder. These kind of movies, I just want to go see it. I don't care what it is. But Josh Horowitz, the host of that Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, had this to say. For the record, I wasn't trying to start a war between two directors I admire. If you watch, listen, there's a lot more nuance than many of these headlines are going with. James Gunn rules, as does Scorsese. Oh, and it's about 90 seconds of a 45-minute chat. By the way, if you want to listen to that 45-minute chat, go and check it out. Now, James Gunn saw what was happening today, and so he decided to come on Twitter and put this out. Also, for the record, Martin Scorsese is probably the world's greatest living American filmmaker. I love and study his films and will continue to love and study his films. I disagree with him solely on one point, that films based on comic books are innately not cinema. That's all. Now, honestly, I think James Gunn could have worded that better and really not say that Martin Scorsese used Marvel to boost his Irishman. Even if it was true, I don't think you need to say that. You know, out of respect. But I guess he felt pretty hurt when a director you looked up to kind of put down your own film. So, yeah. Alright, let's talk about The Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad comes out this week. In fact, by the time you hear this, it's probably going to be out in theaters already. Now, I've already talked about some box office tracking from before, but now as we get closer, Variety put out this article. Box office. The Suicide Squad targets 30 million plus opening weekend. Now, the previous box office tracking was 30 to 60, $65 million opening weekend. And if it was on the higher end, I thought that would have been pretty good. But since it's on the tail end, well, that's not that great. But then again, it is pandemic era still yet. It's even getting worse because of the Delta variant. So it's very hard to gauge what's a success or failure nowadays. So I think the best thing that James Gunn and Warner Bros. Could hope for is that everybody flocks over to HBO Max, subscribes, and watches The Suicide Squad. But then again, would they actually release those numbers? But even though the movie didn't even come out yet, it looks like Warner Bros. Is already celebrating James Gunn. In fact, this is what Walter Hamada had to say. Gunn is always welcome back. Whatever he wants to do, he really has a vision and he's a great partner with us. Whenever he wants to come back, we're ready for him, said Hamada, who added, he'll be back. We have more stuff planned. And within that Hollywood Reporter article, they also mentioned that Margot Robbie was so convinced that James Gunn would be the only one to be able to work that script. They also say that John Cena said yes before even reading the script. So obviously they're pretty happy with the press reviews for the Suicide Squad yet. I can't wait to see what the audience actually thinks. Or what I think when I do the review, maybe tomorrow. Now, they did mention that he has more projects coming, and James Gunn himself retweeted this article. Warner Brothers execs are confident James Gunn will be back for more DC projects with those big eyeballs. And he kind of said he was already going to do this after Guardians of the Galaxy 3. He's going to come back and do projects over at Warner Brothers, making DC films. In fact, he answered a fan question on a flight, answering a few questions. What you got? Any developments on other TSS spin-off shows? Maybe. Now, if you remember, he mentioned that it will be something unexpected. And so I was thinking, wow, what if they give him like New Gods or Green Lantern or I guess Justice League? But under that James Gunn post, a fan that goes by the name The Moonlight Warrior posted a picture of the Secret Six. And guess who liked it? That's right, James Gunn. And I checked. I looked at all the different likes that James Gunn did, and he didn't like any other kind of hinted projects. And that was like the only potential project that he actually liked. Oh, whoa, Secret Six? Really? Now, I don't know if you remember, but Deadline reported that a Secret Six was in development at one point in time. In fact, back in 2018, Secret Six drama based on DC Comics from Bill Lawrence set at CBS with pilot production commitment. Now, obviously, that didn't happen. That kind of just fell through. But most recently, in February, the Vulcan reporter, reported by Amra Kea, said that DC's Secret Six live action series back in development at Warner Brothers TV. That was on February 16th. This year. Most likely what happens is that a lot of these projects, they stay on the back burner and they don't actually come to fruition until they have a director. Case in point, Batgirl and the Supergirl movie. But let's dive deep a little bit into why this Secret Six is kind of perfect for James Gunn. The Secret Six is very much like the Suicide Squad, where it's a team of villains going on different missions. Now, there is different team members for Secret Six, but I'm going to pull this picture because that's the one he liked. Team consists of Catman, I guess Batman but a cat. Scandal Savage, who's the daughter of Vandal Savage. Whoa! Ragdoll. And if you're a fan of the Flash TV series, you've seen Ragdoll. Jeanette, who, has Banshee powers. Then Deadshot. This is perfect. I think this is a great time, great way for Will Smith to come back, to return as Deadshot. And then Bane. I like this one because remember when Dave Bautista said he wants to be Bane if he ever entered the DCEU? This is a perfect opportunity for James Gunn to work again with Dave Bautista, and hopefully it doesn't just make him a silly character, but actually work with Dave Bautista on making him Bane for the Secret Six. Obviously, liking posts doesn't really mean much of anything, but like we've seen already in terms of different directors, especially the Batgirl directors, the Blue Beetle directors, even James Gunn, sometimes liking something actually means something. What do you guys think about James Gunn potentially directing either a Secret Six movie or a Secret Six HBO Max series? Let me know down in the comments down below.